Is Nina Skero, the Chief Executive for the Centre for Economics and Business Research. Great to have you here in the studio. Now, it was never going to be easy, but aside from all the chaos that we've had in the run-up, what's your take on the budget that's been announced?
Well, as you say, chaos aside, leaks aside, the very bizarre OBR slip-up aside, it is the budget that most of us were expecting, which is essentially a round two of what we saw a year ago from the Chancellor, which is very big tax budget, very big state budget, so it's very much a continuation of that trend.
But is the electorate ready to accept this, or do you think we might have a bit of a public backlash? I mean, after all, pensions, bit of a hot-button issue everywhere right now.
Well, it is year two of this government, which is commonly a time when a lot of governments seek to do things which they think are going to be unpopular, with the idea that there is plenty of years before the election. Now, the pensions one that you mentioned, which really sticks out to me, and as soon as that leak started coming out, I was just thinking this is going really in contrast to what the government is trying to accomplish. It's basically taking this ticking time bomb of underinvestment in pensions and pouring fuel on it. But it does stick out to me that they've now said that's going to come online in 2029. I do wonder if the government is thinking that'll give them a lot of time for a possible U-turn if things are looking a little bit better by then than they are at the moment.
Now, across Europe, across the rich world, governments are facing brutal pressures from higher interest rates, from climate change, from ageing populations. Britain's fiscal dilemmas aren't unique, are they? But do you think maybe they need unique solutions?
You're absolutely right. The challenges are not unique, but it does seem that in a few distinct ways, the UK is slightly in a worse place than a lot of its counterparts. Yeah. So here, we still have a very inflationary dynamic. Our European counterparts are further ahead in terms of battling their inflationary problems. Growth in the UK is low, and there really wasn't a lot in the budget today to change that dynamic. Somewhere like the United States is seeing much higher growth rates. So sort of a unique, I would say still pretty unique to the downside circumstances, even amongst those common challenges.
Considering the bleak economic backdrop, would you say that instability in the UK and elsewhere is the new normal?
It's definitely been a very uncertain year, a very uncertain few months, but kind of an uncertain decade as well. I do think one maybe positive takeaway from today's budget is that the Chancellor does seem to acknowledge that, and what she seems to have, sort of her answer to that, has been to really boost that fiscal buffer and to rates that are now a lot more similar to the long-term average. We've constantly been hearing this frame that fiscal buffer is near an all-time low or at an all-time low. Waver thin is a phrase we've heard a lot. It's now much more substantial, and I think that's her way of saying I don't want to be a sort of a prisoner to markets, to my own fiscal rules down the line. I want to create a big enough buffer that I can cater for that instability.
What do you think this budget says to investors? Is the UK still a good place to do business?
It doesn't say anything encouraging to investors. So we've seen an increase on dividend tax, on savings. We've already had the big spike in how much employers are paying from the last budget, so there hasn't really been anything encouraging. We still have the very heavy burden from a year ago, so in that sense, I can't really imagine the kind of investor that would look at today's budget and think there is something in here that's now going to make my outlook on the UK more favorable as a place to bring business, to grow business.
Oh dear, Nina, I was hoping we could end on a positive note, but it's all a bit bleak, isn't it? Nina Skero from the CEBR, thank you very much.
Thank you.